Okay. So you can see that there can be different ways to tell the same story. Okay. So one way is keeping yourself as the first person. Second way is keeping yourself as the second person, and writing in a way that you're talking to somebody, that is your second person, and writing in a way where you're talking to about someone else, that is your third person. Okay. So we have given two situations to the children where they have to write it in different ways. Standing, like first situation is you are standing in front of the class for an oral and suddenly you are not able to remember anything. So in when I am the first person, I write that I as a second person and as a third person. The second situation is visiting someone's house who has dogs and discovering that talking with animals is possible. So these, we give them so that they can write in different aspects. Like here, you can say that letting the characters speak. है ना? So consider the scenarios below and let the characters speak for themselves. You are planning a really amazing birthday. It is about birthday party planner. So you are planning a really amazing birthday party for a friend. Instead of writing out all the details of the plans and how wonderful and crazy it's going to be in the paragraph, use two characters. So it is kind of dialogues, right? Rather than writing in a paragraph, the child will write it as two characters talking to each other and planning the party. Got it?
It will be mostly dialogue writing.
Dialogue writing, yes. So what I shared with you all today, this was the example of this narrative construction. Okay, so this is the how. It can be either as the first person when you yourself get inside the head of the main character. You become the main character. Or the reader is talked to directly, which pulls them in. You talk to the reader. Or the third way where you can work in both a limited way and an unlimited way. How that was shown in the first picture. See, when you will read these three paragraphs, you will find that one is becoming the main character. Like I was not sure about this new teacher. I had been observing. So you become the main character, right? And in second, you make the reader feel, you are right. You can see. So the reader will feel that he is the main character. And the normal way where we are talking about somebody else, that he walked around the veranda. So these are the three different ways for narrating a story. Now, fabulous tables. So we have to start with first your startup question. Like when you are thinking about the story, who will be the main character? Okay, why did people tell fables? What is the purpose? What comes at the end of the story? So these questions should come to your mind before you start with the story. So like for example, now you think that, okay, I have to tell a moral story or a lesson. So these are some of the very common stories which you can keep it in your mind. And then choose your characters. So while choosing character, don't have too many characters. Keep them simple without complex depth. Try to relate them to the moral and try to think of animals, because children, they're fascinated, that relate to your own culture and context. Like for example, here it is flamingo, about a creature flamingo. So it is everything but a flamboyant. Flamingo hates being, so is painfully shy, introverted. So that's how adjectives are used to describe your character. It is shy, introvert, tries to blend in, would rather have been a bird that didn't stand out too much. The other flamingo loves socializing in big noisy parties. They think she is being weird and antisocial. So flamingo, the character. Now shape the conflict. Your story, you have to be clear about the setting, the place, then the character, and then the plot conflict, that what is going to happen. So it should be simple and straightforward. Conflict should reveal the moral, because you are working on a moral based story. As with most stories, there must be a problem the main character has to overcome. Usually the conflict lies between the two opposite ideas. And normally what happens when we talk about a moral story, there has two opposite the conflicts. Greed,
Yes.
greed versus generosity, truth versus falsehood, kindness versus meanness, of which the students will this mm, after the story they'll come to a conclusion that which of the both, either of the both is the good thing, right?
Okay.
So then we talk about the setting. Why it is setting is important. The setting in your fable should not be described in a lot of details and is not really that important. But the main purpose is it should match up with your characters and be a good place for the conflict to play out. Okay, you don't have to think too much about the setting, but yes, the purpose is it should match up with your character and with the conflict which you're going to play. So, like it is a fun pool party. We are just taking the example of flamingo story. Okay. So, fun pool party by the lake, crowded. So, when you talk about a fun pool party, what all you will feel? Crowded place, lots of flamingos. It will be noisy. It will be busy. And because it's a party, so fun, splashing around in the sun, shallow waters, lush, lot of plants around the water. Okay. And then today I want you to read this story now and then try to understand the relation between the setting, plot, character, and the 5 steps which we have done, how it will reach the climax and come down. Okay. Now, there can be 2 types of characterization, direct and indirect. Indirect, what will happen? The writer makes direct statements about a character's personality and tells what the character is like. When you have a direct characterization, you will have to think adjectives. Means you are talking about flamingo and you are telling the qualities. So you are sharing the adjectives, right? But there is another way of indirect characterization where the writer reveals information about a character without using adjective, but what action he is doing. Okay. So the personality is revealed through the character's thoughts, words, and actions, along with how other characters respond to that character, including what they think and say about her. So there, can you give some example about flamingo where telling the verbs, any verb about the flamingo, about flamingo, so that that becomes your indirect characterization.
Um, like
They
a
move
color,
very gracefully.
color.
You have to talk about the actions. For
Okay.
example, if I again and again say he helped, he helped, he helped, so what kind of a person he is, what kind of a creature he is? He's a helping creature.
Yeah.
So we are not directly saying that it's a helping creature, but what we are doing is
Okay.
We are expressing it.
exactly. Okay. So, or if I say he keeps running fast, so he's a fast runner. So that is indirect characterization. Got it?
Ma'am, one doubt I have.
Yes.
Ma'am, so the story building that you taught earlier, no?
Hmm.
That we have to do first and then fables, or like what is the difference? Like as in what, how should we go about it when we make them do writing? Like,
Creative writing will come. I told you first the 100 paragraphs. Okay.
yes,
Then
yes.
teach them the different figure of speech and then bring them to the story creating. Story
So this
building.
is part of the story writing, no? The fable.
Yes. It's all the part of story writing.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So character, when you think about the character, there can be different character motivations. So depending on the moral of your story, different motivations can be there. Okay, with what will motivate your character? So that will depend on the story, right?
Okay.
Now, when you talk about this was about story. Now let us talk about descriptive writing. What is a descriptive writing? When you give the details, vivid sensory details appealing to one or of the more of the 5 senses, means when you are detailing your um, paragraph. This is often best achieved by using vocabulary that includes specific nouns, active verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, a clear, consistent organization using either spatial chronological or thematic order, links between sensory detail and the feeling or thoughts they inspire, a main impression to which each means when you are doing descriptive writing, you will have a descriptive writing means detailing, complete details. If you're taking a noun, you will talk about everything about that noun. Okay, for example, flamingo. When it is a descriptive writing, you will use adjectives, adverbs, verbs. You will have every single detail. So the main impression to which each detail adds, you have to, for descriptive writing, the child, you will have to ask as many questions as possible. Then you will reach the descriptive writing. Okay, for example, I want you to write about your classroom. So, how the child will do the descriptive writing about the classroom? You will keep asking more and more questions. What is the color of the walls? Then, how is the texture of the walls? So, when you ask more, they will write more. When you ask more, they will write more. When you ask more, they will write more. So, that is descriptive writing. Going to the detail of, like, if you're talking about the walls of your classroom, talk about the color, talk about the texture, talk about the paintings which are there on the wall. Going to the minute details that will come up with your descriptive writing. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Aradhna here.
Yes, Aradhna.
Ma'am, in descriptive writing, it means if we are talking about character, so we need to describe each and everything about that character.
Yes, that's what
It
I've
means
opened just now.
okay. So it means we just give them either character or setting. Here is no story kind of.
Descriptive, when it is descriptive writing, it can be descriptive writing for your settings, plot, for your character. Okay.
Like what kind of question we can give if we are talking about like class is kind of setting, so it means descriptive writing topic should be like a setting based or character based, but
See,
how can we give them?
when you write a story, Hannah, you are doing the
Mhm.
setting also, right?
Right, right,
Hannah?
right,
And then you are also doing the characters and plot, everything, right?
right. In
So,
story writing we do all the things, but in descriptive writing we focus on one thing.
yes, exactly. So that one thing can be your this also. I don't know what is happening. Just a minute. When it comes to descriptive writing, it can be anything, no? It can be about your characters, it can be about your settings. Like here, how to go for the detailing, like create a character. Now, I don't know how to go for the detailing or descriptive writing for the character. So here you can see this way you can ask more and more questions so that the child comes to a descriptive writing about the character.
Okay,
Like
okay,
if the child says, okay, there's a boy. Now you have to make the child write a descriptive writing. So what you are going to do? You will write the gender, age, you'll ask the gender, age, occupation, family, name, a secret that he knows, what is his biggest. So more you ask the question, more detailing you will get from the child. What is his biggest fear? What is the physical features? Worst memory, best memory. So more you ask, the child will keep asking, keep writing more desire, dream, ambition, what he wants to learn. So this is just an example how you can give them clues to go for the detailed writing, descriptive writing.
okay.
Now, if we want our child to do descriptive writing, we actually want him to give the details. So you will have to set up such prompts where the child will answer, and while answering, he will uh, have to write in detail, right? Let's take one more example. Now, if you are talking about the character, you will ask 100 questions, means you'll ask so many questions that the child will answer, and that becomes your descriptive writing for about the character. Same way, descriptive writing about the setting. You keep asking about the, for example, your setting is a railway station. So how the child will come to descriptive writing about the railway station is when you keep asking, okay, what, why, when, where, who, all. So when you keep asking, he comes to give you more answers, and that way he starts doing descriptive writing. If he says it was a noisy, crowded place, what kind of people were there, what all they were carrying, were they rushing, and how many trains were there. So more questions when you put, they will go to the detail. Even if they are saying that about the character that he was standing, okay, what he was wearing, how was his hair look, and his dress color. So you keep asking questions, and that's how we can make the child do the descriptive writing. Okay, so now climax. What is a climax? We already have taken the turning point. The story goes and comes to a climax where there comes a turning point. Okay, and there comes a conflict. So that conflict, we can ask the child, okay, what is the conflict in your story? Is it between two human beings? It is between a human and nature? It is between human or animal, human or technology? Or is it within himself, the conflict? So when it comes to creative writing, that will always come from creative thinking, and creative thinking will come from your questions. Your questions and the child's answers will lead to creative thinking and creative writing. Flashback. Okay. Then foreshadowing, the dropping of important hints by the author to prepare the reader for what is means. Foreshadowing is assuming what will be next. Then satire. Okay. What is satire? Any witty or sarcasm we use, you know, to expose, to set right, or destroy a wise breach of good taste or social evil. Satire may range from gentle ridicule to bitter attack. हम कड़वी बात बोलना, that is satire, है ना? नेगेटिव बात को बोलना, ऐसे बोलना कि सामने वाले को बुरा लग जाता है. That is your satire. Okay. Then style is what? Manner of expression, how a speaker or writer says, a primary tool to establish tone. Then comes all the genres. Okay. So these are different genres. Is it an autobiography? Is it a biography? Is it a novel? Is it a short story? These are different genres of writing. Okay. This will come for the higher grade children, not for the young children. Okay. We will be discussing these genres in our next class, where we will discuss all these different genres. Okay. I had to actually open this first and then that. So one I showed for the character कि character अगर है तो उसके लिए हमने questions आपको दिए हैं कि ये question आप पूछ सकते हो. You can ask these questions, and this is about story. So you can ask these questions, okay, from your student about the story. That what is your log line? What's your tagline? Then protagonist. Who is a protagonist? The main character. What is his problem? What is the crisis? How does it change? Why is your setting important to the development of your story? What is the tone of your story? How do you intend to accomplish this through your word usage? What is the theme of your story? What is the main point of these pieces of fiction that you want your readers to take or learn from it? This is again for the higher standard kids. For them, you can ask why your setting is important, why you want to keep this setting only. What is the tone? Just now we talked about the tone. Is it aggressive? Is it mild? Is it average? How is the tone of your story? Is it going very fast? Is it very calm, peaceful? Okay. Then what is the theme of your story? Okay. Theme, how you will explain the theme? Like for the example, if we talk about flamingo story, what is the theme? It's a party theme, right? So that way you will ask questions from the children about the story. All this we are doing to develop to creative thinking, develop creative thinking in your children, right? And then what are the different types of endings? Okay. So ending can also be of different types. Real life endings, surprise endings, classic, okay, epilogue. So these are the different endings which a story can have. Okay, like let's say the barely there ending. This ending is extremely brief and somewhat inconclusive, hinting at what the character will do next, but leaving most of the interpretation for the reader. So their ending will not work for any piece of fiction. It is only when your story is brief, when you have a very short story, is built around quiet events, your readership is sophisticated. So the barely there ending means nothing much is happening. And boring, monotonous. Then comes real life ending, a bit more explicit than the barely there ending. It does clearly indicate what will happen. But what will happen is naturalistic, real life, and again it is also mundane. That is boring. But you can relate with the real life examples. But there can be a surprise ending too. So there's a twist, opposite thing. The whole point is changing. And the fourth one is what happened to the major characters as a result of the climax and also wraps up any loose plot lines. For maximum effectiveness, it should be proportionate to the work, tell us everything we want to know. That means आपका जो character है उसके साथ में क्या हुआ क्लाइमेक्स की वजह से पूरा character ही change हो गया. That is classic denouement. Okay. Then epilogue. What is epilogue? It is removed from the story in time or space. The story itself is over. But we are going to now see a distant result or consequences of that story. Can you give any example of epilogue? मतलब कहानी खत्म हो गई लेकिन आपके माइंड में वो चल रही है क्योंकि जो एंड हुआ है वो सेम नहीं है सबके लिए. You are thinking about it. It is giving an impact where you need to think about it and it is the story gets over but that effect is still in your head. How and when this is going to happen? Which kind of stories will have this kind of an impact?
Like sometimes we see at the end of the story the hero they got murdered, hero, so that kind of story gives some impact why they
Yes,
got murdered.
exactly. Especially for children, that becomes very, you know, where they keep thinking. Why these stories are important?
It ignite their thinking power.
Exactly. So what kind of stories we should encourage them for surprise and these epilogue kind of, because that will help them to improve their creative thinking. Now, we have done a lot about the story writing, but this is the most creative part which I have really loved a lot and which works also, that is short story peer editing worksheet. What you will do, you will have two stories from two different students and they will edit the story. They'll find it so interesting to edit their friend's story. Okay. Short story peer editing worksheet. So the child will read the story of his friend and then he can change it. So these are some questions. Did it seem like the story had a beginning that caught your attention or no? If it has caught the attention, yes. If it does not caught the attention, what changes you can make? Do you know what the setting was? Was it interesting? Were they interesting characters? What problems arose? Were the problems? Now they are working on each other's story. So that's the most beautiful way to teach them creative writing. Were the problems resolved? Is the writer organized? Is there a beginning, a middle, and an end? Is there plot development with strong storyline? Is dialogue used to move the story forward? Is it detailed enough? So, are these characters interesting? Okay, write your notes, suggestions. From what point of view is the story told? The three ways which we did, first person, second person, or the third person. Does the writer have a pleasing style? Okay, so this is, and then lastly, they can highlight spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, punctuation mistakes, any other mistakes. So this again will be a beautiful way to enhance their creative thinking skills. Okay. Now, this is what I want you to do the homework, where I have already given you the definitions and we are going to talk about this in our next class. Okay, so diction, that's words, syntax in order, in structure, mood, you all know that emotional mood, suspense, we know, dialect, we know, that is a variety of language that is spoken by a group in a particular geographical dialect, जो हम बोलते हैं ना बोली बोली हर हर गांव की एक बोली होती है या हर एक शहर की एक बोली डायलेक्ट वहां की लैंग्वेज राइट देन लोकल कलर क्या होता है पेथोस क्या होते हैं सरकाजम अभी हमने बात की एब्स्ट्रैक्ट लैंग्वेज हम किसको बोलेंगे एब्स्ट्रैक्ट लैंग्वेज इज अगेन when we use the words truth education we cannot see truth we cannot see education we cannot see poetry then literal language क्या है right physical means exactly what it says a rose is a physical flower that's a literal language मतलब हम उसकी फिजिकल फ्लावर बोल के हम उस लिटरल मीनिंग पे जा रहे हैं देन वी ऑलरेडी हैव डन दिस फिगरेटिव लैंग्वेज जहां पर हमने ये सारे स्टडी किए थे व्हाट इज अ सिमिली व्हाट इज अ मेटाफर व्हाट इज एक्सटेंडेड मेटाफर सो पर्सोनिफिकेशन हाइपरबोले ओनोमेटोपिया एक हमने ऑक्सिमोरॉन नहीं किया था ऑक्सिमोरॉन क्या होता है a statement with two parts which seem contradictory एक ही सेंटेंस में आपको कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन मिलेगा आई मस्ट बी क्रूएल ओनली टू बी काइंड क्रूएल एंड काइंड ठीक है सो दिस इज समथिंग विच यू हैव टू डू अ लिटिल रिसर्च एंड वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग दिस इन आवर नेक्स्ट क्लास ओके now I have already shared with you Jolly English YouTube videos of 2 days. So 2 days you have to watch them, Sunday and Monday. Okay, 2 days you have to watch those Jolly English. And on Tuesday we will be doing Jolly Music and Jolly Plays, and we will sum up that how creative writing is seen in your Jolly Plays, Jolly Music, and Jolly English. Okay?
Okay.
Ma'am, here I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, if the kids are really young like they are in grade 2 to grade 4, and we are introducing this creative writing for them. So how do we start first? The first we need to introduce figure of speech.
No. Just now we discuss ना, पहले आप उनको सिंपल phrases सिखाओगे. I can, I like, I see, I am, you are, these are, this is, that is, these are, those are. पहले आपने सिंपल phrases, उनमें हमने references change किया. जैसे this is a, ये phrase है लेकिन इसके references change होते जाएंगे. This is a cat, this is a dog, this is a, ये basic. उसके बाद नेक्स्ट लेवल पर क्वेश्चन आंसर्स, इंटरेक्शन. आप क्वेश्चन पूछोगे, हाउ आर यू, आई एम फाइन. ये हमारा सेकंड स्टेज हुआ. ठीक है. उसके बाद में आता है पिक्चर कॉम्पोजिशन, कि हमने पिक्चर दी, अब उनको बेसिक सेंटेंसेस भी आते हैं, तो दे विल बी एबल टू डू द पिक्चर कॉम्पोजिशन. देन आफ्टर दैट वी विल गो फॉर रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन, जहां पे हमने जो क्वेश्चन आंसर सिखाए उसकी प्रैक्टिस कराएंगे. ये क्वेश्चन है, ये आंसर है, रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन. रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के बाद में हम आते हैं फिगर ऑफ स्पीच पे, जहां पे हम उन्हें फिगरेटिव लैंग्वेज सिखाएंगे, सिमिली सिखाएंगे, ताकि जब वो अपना स्टोरी राइटिंग करें, उस स्टोरी राइटिंग में वो फिगरेटिव स्पीच को लेकर आए. लास्ट में हम स्टोरी पे आएंगे, जहां पे हम उन्हें सिखाएंगे कि थिंक, है ना. तो पहले तो हमने कैसे शुरू करना है, उनको प्रॉम्प्ट्स देने. ये इमेजिनेटिव सिचुएशन है, अब आप बताओ क्या करोगे. थिंक एज इफ टुडे यू आर द प्राइम मिनिस्टर. उससे शुरू करेंगे, क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग शुरू करेंगे. उसके बाद में फिर हम उनसे स्टोरीज, फिर हम स्टोरीज में उनको पूछेंगे कि अब स्टोरी के लिए वी हैव टू आस्क देम कि आप अपनी स्टोरी में सेटिंग क्या रखना चाहते हो, प्लॉट क्या होगा, कैरेक्टर क्या होगा. फिर हम उस सेटिंग, प्लॉट और कैरेक्टर की डिटेलिंग करना चाहते हैं. वहां पे जो आज मैंने आपको पीडीएफ दिए हैं, उसकी हेल्प से आप कैरेक्टर्स के बारे में क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हो. क्या क्या क्वेश्चंस पूछोगे कि वो डिटेल्ड राइटिंग करे अबाउट द कैरेक्टर्स. क्या क्या क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हो जिससे वो डिटेल्ड राइटिंग करे अबाउट द सेटिंग. क्या क्या क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हो जिससे वो अपने प्लॉट को और ज्यादा डिस्क्राइब कर पाए. फिर हम उनसे डिस्कस करेंगे आपकी स्टोरी किस तरह की है, उसमें सस्पेंस है या वो सिंपल बोरिंग एंडिंग है, या उसमें कोई सरकाजम है, या उसकी पिच कैसी है. वो हम एल्डर किड्स के साथ, कि उसमें टोन कैसा था, कोई सरकाजम था क्या. तो उसमें हम ये पीयर वाला वर्क करेंगे, जहां पर कि वो अपने स्टोरीज को एक्सचेंज करके स्टोरीज के बारे में रिपोर्ट करेंगे कि मेरे फ्रेंड की स्टोरी में मुझे क्या क्या ठीक लगा, क्या गलत लगा, क्या सही लगा. ओके, सो दिस इज द वे हाउ यू द चाइल्ड विल बी टेकन टुवर्ड्स क्रिएटिव राइटिंग, है ना.
Okay. So ma'am, after the story writing, इसके बाद हम नैरेटिव राइटिंग और डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग लेंगे. फर्स्ट वी स्टार्ट लाइक आपने जो बताया कि वी स्टार्ट विद फ्रेजेस,
आप
क्वेश्चन आंसर.
डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग स्टोरी के साथ ही लोगे. स्टोरी लिखने
Okay.
का मतलब क्या हुआ, स्टोरी को 3 पार्ट्स में लिखा जाएगा ना, बिगिनिंग, मिडिल,
Right.
एंड. तो डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग तो उसमें आएगी.
But ma'am, sometimes the parents ask, okay, now I teach my kids only the descriptive writing.
हाँ, तो आप पहले डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग पे वर्क कर सकते हो, एंड देन फिर स्टोरी राइटिंग पे जा सकते हो,
Okay, okay.
है
So
ना.
it's not compulsory कि पहले हम story writing सिखाएं कि descriptive writing सिखाएं या narrative writing सिखाएं. If the
आप
kids know these,
साइमल्टेनियसली करोगे ना. आप जब स्टोरी राइटिंग करोगे तो उनको आप जो आपने स्टोरी राइटिंग करनी है, लेकिन जब आप उसको बोलोगे सेटिंग्स के बारे में लिखो, तो वो डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग हुई ना, जहां पे आपने क्वेश्चंस पूछे.
right, right, right.
दैट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ स्टोरी राइटिंग.
हम्म.
कैसे सेटिंग के बारे में लिखेगा विदाउट डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग, है ना. वो कैसे नरेटिव राइटिंग करेगा, वो जब स्टोरी लिखेगा तो उसे नरेटिव राइटिंग करना पड़ेगा ना, कि स्टोरी में क्या हो रहा है. दैट्स अ नरेटिव राइटिंग. सो दैट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ स्टोरी राइटिंग. नरेटिव राइटिंग हो गया, डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग हो गया, ये पार्ट है स्टोरी का.
But ma'am, my question was different. For my point of view, is this because the parents ask, teach my kid like opinion writing, narrative writing, descriptive writing, then story writing. So that time, how can we give them these four kind of? We are giving all those things in story writing.
तो
But
आप उनको वैसे करो ना. आज हमने डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग किया है, जहाँ पे स्टूडेंट ने स्टोरी की सेटिंग लिखी है.
got it, got it,
तभी
got
तो
it.
बच्चे को भी तो मजा आएगा ना. बच्चे को कैसे फन होगा.
हम्म.
अगर आप कोई नॉर्मल टॉपिक पे डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग कराओगे बच्चे के लिए तो बोरिंग है।
Right,
ओनली
right,
एंजॉय कि उसे पता है कि देयर इज अ स्टोरी, कोई
right,
क्लाइमैक्स
right.
आने वाला है।
Hmm. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah? Okay. So see you all on Tuesday. Bye bye.
Bye bye.